Hi, good evening. I had to do this episode for after a long time. Had a couple of workshops as well as a lot of sessions, um, and therefore I had to come back to it later. But yes, I of course promise all of you that from here on we will be having more episodes of Systemic Coaching 101. So I am being live from Zoom right now. So I cannot watch the Facebook Live directly. Uh, so yes, I guess I'll just go back to the questions if there are any questions or comments uh, later in the process. So I'll just give 1 or 2 minutes more um, in order to go ahead with the live. So before that, last time I had announced that there is a certificate course on family constellation coming up in February 2021. You all know about it. It's a certificate course. It's a 10-month long course, as well as there are going to be 40 classes, 40 classes. This course is not only for people who want to learn family constellation from the space of a therapist or a facilitator, but this course is also for people who want to do family constellation and want to go into healing, not as a facilitator or as a practitioner only, but who truly want to do their own healing. So people sometimes question me that can I not resolve this in a single session? Can I not work on this and can we be done in like 2 sessions? Is 4 sessions enough for me to go through and heal whatever problem I carry? And I tell them that you've spent 20 years of your life, 30 years of your life, 40 years of your life in building a certain pattern, in having a belief system, in dealing with a trauma, in making this whole stress that you go through regular for you. The inertia of this stress is so strong that it has become regular. It has become usual for you. So for you to be able to work with your issue, please give it at least 2% of the time you have taken in order to develop it, right? For example, a chronic illness which has been there for the last 5 years of your life, a chronic depression which is present for the last 10 years or 6 years. Well, you will need some time in order to work with it, right? So this program, this 10-month long course on family constellation, is also a program you can commit to in order to work on your own healing in a manner which is systematic, in a manner which is disciplined. You know that there are going to be 40 classes. You know that you need to commit to this course, to this program. You know that this commitment that you put into this program is going to be not only beneficial for you in learning the techniques, but also you will be able to move through an entire process of healing for the next 10 months, right? So, so people ask me that why should I join this course if I am not planning to be a practitioner, if I'm not planning to be a therapist, I'm not planning to be a facilitator. And I tell them that how important is your own healing to you? How much time do you want to give to yourself? What kind of commitment can you make to yourself about your own healing? And that is what is going to determine the quality and the kind of life that you will live in the future. If you can give yourself 10 months of quality healing, going through psychotherapeutic techniques, processes, understanding the trauma patterns, understanding what you have inherited from your parents, understanding what you have inherited from your grandparents, how you are a part of this whole, When all of that sinks in, not just to your mind, but to your body at a metacognitive level, it's not just cognition, at a metacognitive level, when you are able to absorb it, grasp it, then change will happen. But for that change, we will need your commitment. If you do not commit, or if you can't commit, then this course is not for you. So a 10 month is actually not a very long time. You see, you look at this year, how this year, with all its adversities and all the suffering that people went through, and all the misadventures that happened, not outside of you, but within you, everything that happened, we are in October. So how can you say 10 month is a long time? 10 month is actually a time that just goes away in a whisper. So I believe that those 10 months could become the most remarkable time of your entire life, where you have committed yourself and submitted yourself to the entire process of healing. So that is why I welcome you to join this program next year, February 2021. Our early bird pricing is still on till November 30th. After I finish this talk, I'm going to put a link, and that link is for you to get the information in your email inbox, so that you can fill up the details about who you are, how old you are, what you do, and if you want to be a therapist, if you want to do it for your own healing. So that form covers, it's a Google form. It covers all the spaces where you can put your own information. And once we have the information from your email, we will be able to send you a PDF, as well as uh, posters about this workshop, which will have all the information from how many classes are going to happen, how they are going to happen, the dates, from where we are going to start, as well as, of course, the method, and definitely the different pricing. And if you want to register before November 30th, then you must go for our early bird price. Okay, all of that information will be sent to you. You simply have to click on the link that I will post after this talk, and then you click on the link and fill up all the details of the Google form and give us your email, and the details will be sent to you. Now, coming to family constellation. Last time we spoke about how a classical family constellation works, and I told you how it's a form of group therapy where people gather and we have representatives, where people represent different parts, different people from the client's family system, right? So this is, I guess this is clear by now. So now what happens is, most people who reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, as well as people who mail me, people who have had previous experiences of attending a family constellation healing workshop, they ask me that, how do you do constellation on a one-on-one basis? That's question number one. Okay, how do you do constellation on a one-on-one basis? Question number two, I have these beautiful figurines, by the way, okay, with which I do constellations. So they ask me that, how do you do constellations with figurines, with puppets? Do they move by themselves? And I tell them no. And question number three is, how effective are online sessions? As in, this entire course that I'm going to learn online for 10 months, how is it going to how effective is it going to make my therapeutic work if I happen to be practicing as a therapist? Or if I am doing my own healing, then how effective will that healing be? And let me go from the third question onwards. So I'll tell you, all my clients, all my sessions are online. I don't have a single client attending a single session which is offline. My entire work is based on reaching out to people from different parts of the world because I love studying different families, different systems, and different cultures and different races across timeline and across space, and understanding them from a holistic perspective, that how um, different families belonging to different regions and different countries, how do they function, how do the systemic laws that we talk about in family constellation are prevalent in these different families, what kind of problems, be it problems about physical diseases, be it about relationships, be it about money, how are these prevalent in different parts of the world, in different families. I love studying families in different parts of the world. So that's why my sessions are online, because I want to reach out to everywhere. Now, the thing is that initially, of course, one is given to doubt because we are not used to doing online sessions. Um, Earlier, I remember, I used to jitter, feel nervous about online sessions, and I would feel that, how is this thing going to work? Because I'm not there present with my client. What is going to happen if I have to support the person? And trust me, there are not just alternatives, but also new inventions, new ways of truly being present for your client. It doesn't matter whether you are physically present or not. What matters is how effective is your solution that you are able to bring on the table. What are you able to show the client that the client did not have an awareness or an understanding of? That's what matters. And that's exactly I do in my constellations, that I make them aware of something about their system, their family, and the traumas they carry from their childhood or from their family, which they had no awareness of. And I simply do it with the help of uh, one-on-one sessions. Yes, when we do constellations, the classical model of a constellation is a client comes to you, you have different people sitting in front of you, and these people who are unknown to the client represent family members of the client's family without knowing. But here, what I do is I combine constellation work with coaching. So you all must be knowing what is coaching. It's a way of understanding what your client's goals are, what objective do they have, what kind of expectation they bring to therapy. Are those expectations realistic? Are those expectations non-realistic? Um, how soon or how willing are they willing to work on themselves? What kind of motivation do they need? Is it the kind of motivation where they have to meet you for uh, every week for 2 days, or is it the kind of motivation where they would need to meet you, let's say, once in 2 weeks? So all of these parameters come into concern when you do coaching, when you do one-on-one, understanding your client's issue and help them figure out a path, not just for healing, but also for achieving what they want to achieve in life. So what I do is, in my coaching, I combine the work of family constellation. I'm sure people who have learned constellation with me this year in 2020 will know what I'm talking about. I don't just do the constellation and leave it there, but I also help people understand what do they need to do further now to able to absorb the effect of the constellation and carry it in their life, like carry it like a tangible resource, right? So that's what we do in our online sessions. Coming to the second question, so I answered the third question. Coming to the second question, that how do I do these sessions? So I'm going to show you a little bit, okay? How do I do these sessions? I'm going to turn my computer and show you that we have this beautiful figurines, okay? And these figurines become really handy when we do a constellation. In fact, I plan to travel with these figurines because I love them so much, and at any point of time, if I have to resolve an issue for anyone, I simply ask the person to represent their problem in a three-dimensional manner. So why do we have these figurines? We have these figurines so that we can represent the problem or the issue in a three-dimensional manner. Now, let us imagine that I ask someone that pick up someone to represent your father, okay? And the person picks up. Online person tells me where to place it. So if I'm doing an online session, they will tell me that, okay, fine, this white blonde hair is my father. Please place him like this. And I place him like that. And let's say someone to represent the mother, and please place my mother here, and you can see that this moves, that there is a hinge here, see? So please place my mother as if she's looking somewhere down, and please place me, which is this yellow individual, next to my mother, looking at my mother. And then uh, after placing all the people in the family, let's say this is the client, and maybe there is also a brother, so I would say, okay, pick up a representative for your brother, and um, they pick up this, and the brother also stands here, let's say, okay? And then the mother is looking at something, so we don't know what exactly is she looking at because she is bending her head down, right? So because we don't know, so we will simply take um, a paper representation, because I also teach constellation how to do it with paper, and I place it here. And as I do this, I ask my client, what do you feel about this? How do you feel about this picture that you have drawn for yourself? And suddenly it comes to light, something that was totally forgotten, something that was totally overlooked, something that was not a part of this of my client's problem. So it is possible that the father is looking away and the mother is looking at something. It is very clear that the father and mother are not being able to be together. The mother is looking down. Even the children are looking at mother because mother is not looking at them. So the first picture is the most important picture in the constellation, because the first picture gives you an understanding, I would say, a telescopic view of what the situation is. Because until there is representation, we will not get to know what is the three-dimensional picture within our client that is causing the issue. And it is possible that our client says suddenly that, I keep looking at my mother, but she never looks at me. And which is true in this representation. Well, our client is looking at the mother, but she doesn't look. And therefore, maybe she's angry with the mother. And I asked my client that, do you know of any information before you were born, because your mother seems to be looking down? It is possible that there could be a child which died prematurely, which died young. And suddenly our client remembers and says that, yes, that's true, because, just before I was born, there was a brother who was stillborn, right? And so we understand that the mother's attention is somewhere else. So how did that happen? It happened through our client. I did not have a representative to tell us that there is a dead child in the background. But then, as I trusted my client's instincts, and I trusted the fact that even if you do a one-on-one constellation with your client, it is possible that we can unearth information which could lead to where the trauma lies. So here the trauma is specifically present because the mother is looking at the dead child. Probably when the child died, she could not recover from it. And because she could not recover from it, she could not be available to her children and, of course, to her husband, who seems to be looking away. And what is happening is our client, who happens to be the daughter, is probably looking at the mother and figuring out, why doesn't she look at me? Why doesn't she love me? And all her life, she continues to feel this anger without knowing what her mother went through. So once she witnesses this information, there is a healing effect on her. And the healing effect is not at an intellectual level. The healing effect is at a metacognitive level. It's at a level where they are able to see their mother's pain. They are able to witness that, okay, all my life, my my mother was uh, focusing on this because maybe she could not recover from it. Maybe she didn't have support. Maybe, she could not read properly. Maybe my father was not near, and that's why she never had the kind of support that she wanted. And then she understands, not just at an intellectual level, as I said, but uh, at a metacognitive level. Okay, it goes beyond the intellectual understanding into her soul level. And all of this, mind you, all of this has happened uh, without me actually bringing in representatives, bringing in more people into the constellation, without having a group, while doing a one-on-one constellation. Okay, so this one-on-one constellation is what has brought all the trauma into the surface. So that is the answer to your question, that do we truly need a group of people to make us aware of how a constellation works? So many people who have learned constellation work with me this year, in 2020, are now facilitators and are capable of doing one-on-one constellation, and that too online, right? And all of this has happened because constellation work and family trauma work is not limited to one method only. And there is not only one way of doing a constellation. There are multiple ways of doing a constellation. And that's exactly what we learn in this course, so that you become capable of becoming this global facilitator, global therapist, and you can work with people all around the world. And such a beautiful technique can be combined, can be integrated uh, into coaching, into counseling, into therapy work. Even if you are doing behavioral sessions, even if you are a behavioral therapist, you can still incorporate understanding family trauma into behavioral therapy. Okay, so that's why our course is so popular. I'm sure everyone's gonna vouch by it. So now let me come to question number one. And question number one was, how effective are online sessions? How do you do them? And is it possible to do online with a client one-on-one? I've addressed already. And how do you work with figurines and puppets? So I would say that the difference that a client feels, the kind of safety the client experiences when we do one-on-one constellation with them, is very different from doing a group work. Of course, there are a certain kind of people who come for group work. Maybe they have already been through therapy. Maybe they have already been to a regression therapist. Maybe they have been to psychotherapy. Maybe they have already worked one-on-one, and now someone has told them about group constellations happening, and they come, right? But they have prior exposure to therapy, because otherwise they are not going to feel comfortable in a group, isn't it? So they have some prior information, prior understanding, prior experience of going through therapy, and now they have come for a group constellation. But what happens when a person does not have prior exposure to therapy? What happens when the client has not dealt with their uh, inner child issues? What happens when a client has not been through regression therapy, art therapy, psychotherapy, psychoanalysis, behavioral therapy? How do you work with the client? Well, then you have to work with the client with a mix of psychotherapeutic techniques, dynamic psychodynamic psychotherapy, as well as certain behavioral techniques, certain neurological methods, as well as methods of family constellation. So I give them breathing techniques. I conjunct it with emotional freedom technique. I give them ways that are rooted in neuroscience by which the brain pathways and their neural pathways can change. I give them coaching, and I help them look into different possibilities that they can look at in order to move forward in life. And how does that happen? That happens once they have an understanding of their system. And the understanding of the system happens when we do a constellation on a one-on-one basis. Because when I'm doing it with group, then I don't have the time, I don't have the space. My client does not feel absolutely safe enough to bring out all their, or rather they don't even have the time to bring out all of their issues in a session, because we are done with the constellation and we move to the next constellation, right? So that's how we do. But in a one-on-one individual sessions, all of these techniques can be combined. One can combine breathing techniques, one can combine inner child work, one can combine EFT, all of these things, healing sentences, all of these things can be combined. Especially, I have seen that, in my work, breathing techniques work the most. Whenever I help a client to visualize certain ancestors, visualize certain people, visualize the end of a trauma, and I go through these methods of imageries, and I give them different meditations based on what has emerged in a constellation. It is possible that different kind of traumas can emerge in a constellation: traumas with the mother, traumas with the father, traumas with someone who went through a very traumatic death in the family system, in the family line, traumas of abortion, traumas of relationship. And based on that, there are different breathing methods rooted in neurobiology and rooted in neuroscience. And all of those methods can come as a conjunct, as an adjunct to your constellation. Okay, so that is the USP of the program that we are going to do from February onwards. And because it's online, you also get to learn how to do one-on-one constellation and still have 100% effective solution for your client. Your client is still going to go with full satisfaction, as well as with all the healing that you intend to bring for them. Okay, so it does not matter whether you are physically present for them or not. What matters is how much are you willing to, are you capable of delivering, and what is the effective solution that you can bring with the methods that you will learn all over 10 months from February 2021 to December 2021. So I am going to now end this talk and maybe look up my video on the phone if there are any comments, because on the computer I'm not able to see since this live is on Zoom. So I'm just going to look that up. If I have any questions, I will answer them. If not, I will end this talk and this live. And I will also, after ending, post the link to our query form. Please fill up the query form. And once you have filled it up, your emails will be taken up, and we will be sending you details about this program. Please remember that we have the early bird still going on till November 30th. So people who are willing to pay the early bird, of course, should get in touch. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Systemic Coaching 101. Okay, so let me look up if there are any questions here. Okay, so we have Shamini saying, hi, Gaurav, just popped by to say hello. So hello, Shamini. Hi. So yes, I have another question from someone who has been doing our constellation work, and she has been so instrumental in spreading the work around Kareen. So lovely, Kareen, thank you. You've asked me a question. Gaurav, would you offer workshops and additional techniques you add to FC? Yes, I will be delivering workshops on the additional techniques that I'm bringing in the next next module of FC, which is the next batch, basically from 2021. Yeah, so all of these techniques, newer techniques, I will be developing workshops on that. Also on EFT, how to incorporate healing sentences in EFT, I will be doing it. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for attending this live, and thanks to everyone. I will then see you in the next episode. Okay, I'll see you in the next episode, and I'm just ending this talk now. Bye-bye.